The perfect latte sits untouched on my table, its heart-shaped foam art mocking the chaos about to unfold. I see them before Ryan does, Laura and Greg Mitchell striding through the cafe door like generals preparing for battle. My stomach drops. Our peaceful Sunday brunch is about to become a war zone. Ryan, darling, Laura's voice carries across the cafe, dripping with artificial sweetness. Several heads turn. What a surprise finding you here. Ryan tenses beside me, his hand finding mine under the table. Mother, father, what brings you to this part of town? I'm Amy, and this is the moment my life splits in two, before and after Laura Mitchell decided to destroy me. Laura pulls up a chair uninvited, her designer handbag claiming territory on our intimate table for two. Greg looms behind her, arms crossed, jaw set. The perfect military backup to his wife's impending assault. We need to discuss something important, Laura announces, her perfectly manicured fingers drumming against the table. Something concerning Amy's influence on you. The way she says my name, like it's contaminated, makes my blood simmer. I've spent 2 years trying to win this woman's approval, but nothing is ever good enough for Ryan's mother. Mother, this isn't the place, Ryan starts. When is the place, Ryan? You've been avoiding our calls, skipping family dinners, and now I hear you're planning to reject the position at your father's firm? Her voice rises with each accusation. More heads turn. I grip my coffee cup, knuckles white. Mrs. Mitchell, Ryan makes his own decisions. You. She turns on me, mask slipping. You're the reason he's throwing away everything we've built, filling his head with ridiculous notions about following his passion. He was perfectly content before you came along with your literature degree and independent thinking. The cafe has gone quiet. Even the espresso machine seems to hold its breath. That's enough. Ryan's voice is steel, but Laura isn't finished. You're corrupting him, she spits, taking him away from his family, his responsibilities. What kind of woman turns a son against his parents? We've done research on you, Amy Parker. Your father abandoned your family? Is that what you want? To destroy another family? The words hit like physical blows. My chest constricts. The cafe spins. Ryan is shouting now, but I barely hear him over the roaring in my ears. I stand abruptly, chair scraping against the floor. Coffee sloshes over my cup's rim, staining the pristine tablecloth. Good. Let it stain. Let it be a mark of this moment, this declaration of war. You want to talk about research, Mrs. Mitchell? My voice is deadly calm. Maybe we should discuss your own family history, those skeletons you've worked so hard to bury? Laura's face pales. It's a shot in the dark, but her reaction tells me I've hit something. I lean in close, voice barely above a whisper. You've made a mistake, targeting me. I'm not some society girl you can bully into submission. You want to fight? You've got one. I grab my purse and walk out, head high, leaving chaos in my wake. Ryan calls after me, but I don't stop. Can't stop. The humiliation burns too hot, demands action. Outside, I pull out my phone and dial. Jenna, remember that favor you owe me? I need your investigative journalism skills. We're going to find every secret Laura Mitchell has ever tried to hide. The game has changed. She wanted to destroy me? I'll dismantle her perfect world piece by piece instead. Let's see how she likes having her life picked apart in public. Behind me, the cafe door chimes. Ryan's footsteps approach. Time to decide which side of this war he's really on. 3 days after the cafe incident, Ryan convinces me to attend dinner at his parents' house. Just to clear the air, he says. The Mitchell family mansion looms before us, all perfect symmetry and manicured hedges. Everything in its proper place, just like Laura likes it. We don't have to do this, Ryan says, his hand warm against my lower back. Yes, we do. I straighten my spine, smoothing down my carefully chosen dress. Conservative enough for Laura's approval, but with enough edge to make a statement. Your mother wants a war. Let's see how she handles it on her home turf. The door opens before we reach it. Laura stands there, pearls gleaming at her throat, smile fixed like porcelain. Ryan, darling, Amy, how nice. The foyer swallows us whole. Family portraits line the walls. Generations of Mitchells staring down with judgment. I notice there are no recent photos of Ryan. Greg Mitchell emerges from his study, drink in hand. Son, Miss Parker. His military bearing hasn't softened in retirement. Everything about him screams authority, from his rigid posture to his measuring gaze. Dinner is an exercise in careful navigation. Crystal glasses clink. Silver scrapes against fine china. Laura keeps the conversation flowing with practiced ease, but there's poison beneath her pleasantries. Ryan, I spoke with James Harrison today, she says, naming a partner at Greg's law firm. He's still holding that position for you. Such an opportunity shouldn't go to waste. Mother, Ryan starts. Your father built that firm from nothing. 30 years of dedication. Surely your current interests can wait? I watch Ryan's jaw tighten. The software company he's building is more than an interest. It's his passion, his future, our future. Actually, I cut in, voice honey sweet. Ryan's company just secured major venture capital funding. Didn't you tell them, dear? Laura's fork pauses halfway to her mouth. Greg's knuckles whiten around his glass. Is that so? Laura recovers quickly. How enterprising. Though I wonder about the stability. Not everyone has your comfort with uncertainty, Amy. Some of us value tradition, security. Like your family valued it, Laura? The words slip out before I can stop them. Jenna's preliminary research had turned up interesting details about Laura's own parents. A scandal carefully buried decades ago. The temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. Laura's smile turns brittle. I'm not sure what you mean. Just that family histories can be complicated. I take a deliberate sip of wine. Don't you agree? Greg clears his throat. Perhaps we should discuss? No, Laura interrupts, mask cracking. Let's discuss how this woman has poisoned our son against us. How she's encouraged his rebellion, his rejection of everything we've built. That's enough. Ryan's voice cuts through the tension. Amy hasn't poisoned anything. She supports me, believes in me. When was the last time either of you did that? We believe in your potential, Greg says, in your responsibilities to this family. Your responsibility, I counter, should be to your son's happiness. Laura stands abruptly, napkin falling to the floor. You dare lecture us about family, about responsibility? You're nothing but an interloper, a gold digger with delusions of adequacy. Mother, Ryan rises too, but I place a hand on his arm. It's fine, I say quietly. Your mother's just afraid. Aren't you, Laura? Afraid of losing control? Afraid your perfect world is crumbling? Laura's face contorts. Get out of my house. Gladly. I stand, gathering my dignity around me like armor. But remember this moment, Laura. Remember you chose this path. Outside, the night air feels like freedom. Ryan follows me, apologizing, but I'm barely listening. My phone buzzes. A text from Jenna. Found something interesting about Laura's time as principal. You need to see this. I smile in the darkness. The game is changing. Laura thought she could break me with one dinner? She has no idea what's coming. Amy? Ryan touches my shoulder. What are you thinking? I'm thinking, I say carefully, that your mother needs to learn some hard lessons about consequences. The mansion's lights blur behind us as we drive away, but I can still feel Laura's eyes burning into my back. Good. Let her worry. The real war is just beginning. The whispers follow me through the university corridors like poison. Students glance away when I pass. Conversations dying mid-sentence. Something's wrong. I feel it in my bones before Professor Martinez stops me outside my classroom. Amy, we need to discuss some concerns that have been brought to the dean's attention. My stomach drops. What concerns? There are allegations about inappropriate relationships with students. Questions about your academic integrity. He won't meet my eyes. The dean wants to see you immediately. The dean's office feels like a trap. Dean Wilson sits behind her massive desk, reading from a file I've never seen before. My file, apparently. Laura Mitchell's fingerprints are all over this. These are serious accusations, Professor Parker. The dean's voice is carefully neutral. Multiple sources have come forward. Multiple sources orchestrated by Laura Mitchell, you mean? The words escape before I can stop them. The dean's eyebrows rise. Mrs. Mitchell has nothing to do with this. She's a respected former educator who happens to be my boyfriend's mother and is trying to destroy my career. I lean forward. Ask yourself why these accusations are surfacing now. Check when these sources came forward. Nevertheless, we have to investigate. You'll be placed on administrative leave pending. My phone buzzes. A text from Jenna. Got the docs. Laura's principal days weren't as clean as she claims. Call me now. I stand, cutting off the dean mid-sentence. Fine, investigate. But when this falls apart, and it will, I expect a full apology and investigation into who really orchestrated this witch hunt. Outside, I call Jenna with shaking hands. What did you find? Remember that student suicide at her school 15 years ago? Laura buried the reports. The kid was being bullied, complained multiple times. She did nothing. There's more. Financial irregularities, covered up incidents. Your future mother-in-law isn't as squeaky clean as she pretends. I press my forehead against the cool brick wall. Send me everything. Amy? Jenna hesitates. This could destroy her reputation completely. Are you sure? She tried to destroy mine first. My voice sounds strange, distant. She doesn't get to play victim now. Back home, Ryan's waiting. One look at my face, and he knows. What happened? Your mother. I laugh, but it comes out wrong. She's been busy, spreading lies at the university, trying to get me fired. Tell me, Ryan, did you know? What? No, I wouldn't. He reaches for me, but I step back. But you knew she was capable of this. You've watched her manipulate people your whole life, haven't you? Amy, please, let me talk to her. I'll fix this. Fix this? I grab my laptop, pull up Jenna's files. Like your mother fixed things at her school? Take a look, see who she really is. He reads, face growing paler. This can't be true. Every word is documented. Your perfect mother let a kid die because addressing the bullying would have damaged her school's reputation. Then she buried it all. Ryan sinks onto the couch, head in his hands. What are you going to do? What am I going to do? I laugh again, that same wrong sound. I'm going to give her one chance to back off. One chance to end this quietly. After that, everything comes out. My phone rings. Laura's number. Of course she knows already. Her web of influence runs deep. You've made your point, she says without preamble. Let's discuss terms. Terms? I watch Ryan's face, torn between his mother and me. Here are my terms. Retract the lies. Clear my name at the university. Stay out of our lives. Or what? You'll destroy my reputation? My family? You mean like you tried to destroy mine? My voice hardens. You have 24 hours, Laura. Choose carefully. I hang up, turn to Ryan. His face is a battlefield of loyalty and betrayal. I need to know, I say quietly. Are you with me on this? He looks at the documents again, at the evidence of his mother's carefully hidden past. Then at me, the woman she tried to destroy. I'm with you, he says finally. But Amy, what happens if she doesn't back down? I think of the dean's office, the whispers in the hallway, every calculated move Laura made to ruin me. Then we'll find out just how far both of us are willing to go. The clock starts ticking, 24 hours until everything changes. 23 hours into Laura's ultimatum, Jenna calls with news that changes everything. The dean didn't just happen to believe Laura's lies, she says. They've known each other for 30 years. They were roommates in college. The pieces click into place. I pace my living room, phone pressed to my ear. That's why the dean moved so quickly against me. There's more. Remember that student suicide cover-up? Dean Wilson was on the school board back then. She helped bury it. My free hand clenches. They're all connected. Amy, Jenna hesitates. Laura's called an emergency board meeting at the University Foundation. Tomorrow morning. Of course she has. The perfect countermove, using her connections to ensure I'm not just suspended, but permanently dismissed. My career wouldn't survive that kind of black mark. Ryan finds me still pacing an hour later. You haven't answered my calls. Been busy. I show him Jenna's findings. Your mother's quite the chess player. She's already 3 moves ahead. He reads the documents, jaw tightening. I'll talk to her again. No. I stop pacing. No more talking. She's made her choice. What are you planning? Before I can answer, my phone buzzes. An email from an anonymous account. Inside, financial records showing suspicious transfers between Laura's old school account and offshore banks dated around the time of the student's death. Hush money, I whisper. She paid the family to keep quiet. Ryan's face goes ash white. This will destroy her. Like she tried to destroy me? I pull up my laptop, start drafting an email to the university board. She had her chance to back off. Amy, wait! Ryan grabs my wrist. Think about what this means. My mother goes to prison, my father's reputation ruined. The family name? The family name? I jerk away. That's what you're worried about? While I'm fighting for my career, my reputation, I'm worried about you. His voice cracks. This path you're on, revenge changes people. I've watched it change my mother over the years. Now I'm watching it change you. I stare at him, really seeing him for the first time today. The shadows under his eyes, the tension in his shoulders. He's being torn apart, piece by piece. My phone rings, Laura's number. 1 hour, she says when I answer. Meet me at the cafe where this started, alone. Why should I? Because I have something you need to see. Something about your father. The line goes dead. My father, who abandoned us when I was 12, who I haven't heard from in 16 years. Don't go, Ryan says. It's another manipulation. Maybe, I grab my keys. But I need to know. The cafe is empty except for Laura, sitting at our old table. No pearls tonight, no perfect makeup. She looks older, tired. Your father didn't abandon you, she says as I sit. He was paid to leave. She slides a folder across the table. Inside, more financial records, more offshore accounts. But these are older, dating back to my childhood. Your mother was from old money, Laura continues. Your father was unsuitable. The family paid him off. Monthly payments, contingent on him staying away. The world tilts sideways. How do you know this? Because the law firm that arranged it, it was my husband's. I stare at the documents until the numbers blur. Everything I believed about my past, about why he left. Why show me this? Because we're more alike than you think. Laura's voice softens. We both know what it's like to have our lives controlled by other people's money and power. The difference is, I learned to play their game. Is that what this is? A game? It's survival. She stands. You have until morning to decide. Use those documents about my past. Destroy everything I've built. Or work with me to find your father. Learn the whole truth about your family. She leaves me there, staring at my reflection in the cafe window. In the glass, I see myself becoming exactly what I've been fighting against. The choice I make next will define everything. The university library's grand hall buzzes with anticipation. My colleagues gather for what they think is a standard faculty meeting. But tonight, everything changes. I grip the flash drive in my pocket. Every dark secret, every manipulative move Laura's made, ready to be projected on the screen behind me. Ryan touches my arm. Last chance to reconsider. I shake my head. The documents about my father burn in my bag. Laura's final manipulation. But two can play at revelation games. She made her choice. Now I'm making mine. Dean Wilson arrives, Laura surprisingly absent. The dean's smile is razor sharp. Professor Parker, I believe you had something to present? Yes. I step up to the podium, plug in my drive. But not about curriculum changes. The first slide appears, financial records, emails, the trail of Laura's past indiscretions. Gasps ripple through the room. The dean's smile freezes. These documents show a pattern of corruption and cover-ups spanning decades. I begin, but movement at the back of the hall catches my eye. Laura walks in, followed by a man I haven't seen in 16 years. My father. The words die in my throat. He's older, grayer, but those eyes, my eyes, haven't changed. Amy, he says, voice rough with emotion. The room spins. Laura's voice cuts through my haze. I promised you the truth. Here it is. My father steps forward. What your mother's family did, what they made me do, I've regretted it every day. Stop. My voice shakes. This isn't about him. This is about you, Laura. Your manipulation, your lies. Is it? Laura moves closer. Or is it about control? About power? The same things your mother's family used against your father? The projector hums behind me, displaying evidence that could destroy Laura's reputation forever. one button press away from revenge. Amy, Ryan's voice, steady and clear. Look around. I do. My colleagues' faces show shock, confusion, judgment. In trying to expose Laura, I've become exactly what she claimed I was. Someone willing to destroy others for personal gain. My father takes another step forward. I wanted to contact you so many times, but the agreement? Your mother's family would have cut off your college funding, your future. Enough! The word explodes from me. Everyone out. Now. The faculty files out, murmuring. Dean Wilson hesitates, but Laura nods slightly and she leaves too. Only the four of us remain. Me, Ryan, Laura, and the ghost from my past. You knew, I say to Laura. All this time, you knew about my father. I knew what money and power can do to a family. She meets my gaze steadily. I knew what revenge does to the person seeking it. So this was what? A lesson? A choice. She gestures to the screen. You can expose my past, destroy what I've built, or you can listen to your father's story. Understand why I recognize the same pain in you that I once felt. Ryan touches my shoulder. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. I look at the projection, the evidence of Laura's misdeeds, at my father, standing there with 16 years of explanations waiting to be heard. At Ryan, loving me despite watching me become someone he barely recognizes. My hand moves to the laptop, hovers over the delete key. Why did you really do this, Laura? I ask. The truth. Because I saw myself in you, the anger, the need for control. She pauses. And because I couldn't bear to watch my son love someone who might become what I became. The truth hits harder than any revenge could. With trembling fingers, I press delete. The evidence vanishes, taking with it months of carefully planned vengeance. Tell me everything, I say to my father, from the beginning. Laura moves toward the door, but I call after her. This doesn't make us friends. No, she agrees. But maybe it makes us family. She leaves us there in a room heavy with unspoken stories and the weight of choices that will reshape all our lives. The war is over. Now comes the harder part, healing. 3 days after I delete the evidence, my father disappears again. No note, no explanation, just gone, like 16 years never happened. The irony tastes like acid in my mouth. I sit in our apartment, surrounded by scattered papers, his story about my mother's family, the payment records, everything that explains but doesn't excuse. Ryan watches from the doorway, keeping his distance like I'm a bomb about to detonate. Laura called again, he says quietly. Of course she did. To gloat? To apologize. She didn't know he'd leave. My laugh sounds wrong, brittle. Didn't she? Isn't this exactly what she wanted? To prove I'm just like her? Someone people leave? The doorbell rings. We both freeze, but it's just Jenna clutching her laptop with an expression that makes my stomach drop. You need to see this. She opens her computer, pulls up a news article. It just went live. The headline hits like a physical blow. University professor accused of academic fraud. My name features prominently. Anonymous sources cite fabricated research, plagiarized work. The dean, I whisper. She's finishing what Laura started. Amy? Ryan reaches for me, but I'm already moving, grabbing my keys. Where are you going? To end this. The drive to the Mitchell house feels like entering enemy territory. Laura opens the door before I knock, unsurprised. I knew you'd come, she says. Did you plan this too? Get my father to show up just to disappear? Coordinate with the dean to destroy my career? I had nothing to do with the article. She steps aside. Come in. There's something you should know. Inside, Greg Mitchell sits at the dining room table, surrounded by papers. He looks older than I remember, worn down. Show her, Laura says to him. Greg slides a document across the table. The dean approached me last week, wanted dirt on you. When I refused, she threatened to expose some irregularities in the firm's accounts. Your firm's accounts? I say slowly. The same ones that handled my father's payoff? The dean's been blackmailing half the board, Laura adds, using old secrets, old mistakes, like she used mine. The pieces click together with sickening clarity. She played us against each other. All of this, the rumors, the threats, It was her all along. Not all, Laura admits. I did try to drive you away at first, but when I realized what the dean was doing, why should I believe you now? Because, Greg says, we have proof of everything, including where your father really is. My heart stops. What? Laura pulls out her phone, shows me a text message from my father sent yesterday. Dean Wilson says if I don't leave, she releases everything about Amy's mother, about what really happened 16 years ago. What happened? My voice shakes. Your mother's death wasn't an accident, Laura says softly. The dean knows who was responsible. She's been holding it over your father for years. The room spins. My mother's car accident, the one that drove my father away, wasn't random. Why are you showing me this? Because, Laura meets my eyes, you were right about me, about what I became fighting to protect my family. But you were also right about the dean. She needs to be stopped. And you want my help? I laugh bitterly. After everything? No. Ryan's voice makes us all turn. He stands in the doorway, face set with determination. We want to help you. I look at them. Laura, who tried to destroy me, Greg, who stood by silently, Ryan, caught between loyalty and love. My enemies turned potential allies. If we do this, I say carefully, we do it my way. No more manipulation, no more secrets. Laura nods. Agreed. Then tell me everything. About my mother, about the dean, about what really happened 16 years ago. Greg opens another folder. It started with a company called Mitchell and Wilson Holdings. The truth stretches before us like a dark road, and I'm not sure any of us will survive what lies at the end. Mrs. Thompson's garden party seems an unlikely battlefield, but here we are. Laura, the dean, my father, and me, surrounded by chattering neighbors who have no idea they're about to witness an explosion. Lovely weather, Mrs. Thompson chirps, oblivious to the tension. Dean Wilson, I'm so glad you could join us. The dean's smile doesn't reach her eyes. I wouldn't miss it. I check my phone. Jenna's message confirms she's in position at the newspaper office, ready with the story. Laura catches my eye across the garden, gives an imperceptible nod. Even now, it feels surreal having her as an ally. Amy? My father appears beside me, right on cue. We need to talk. The dean's head snaps up, exactly as planned. She moves closer, trying to appear casual while staying within earshot. About Mom's accident, I say loudly enough to carry. Or about Mitchell and Wilson Holdings? The garden goes quiet. The dean's glass freezes halfway to her lips. You don't want to do this, she says softly. Actually, I do. I turn to face her. Tell them, Dad. Tell everyone how Dean Wilson and her husband used Mom's death to blackmail you. How they've been using everyone's secrets to maintain power for decades. That's enough. The dean's voice cracks like a whip. Mr. Parker, remember our agreement. The agreement's void, my father says. I'm done running. Laura steps forward. Just like I'm done covering up what really happened at the school. That student's death wasn't just a tragedy, it was negligence. Your negligence. The dean laughs, but there's an edge of hysteria to it. You have no proof. You deleted everything. Did I? I pull out my phone. Or did I just let you think I did? Jenna's at the newspaper now. One text from me and everything goes public. You're bluffing. Try me. I move closer. You used our pain, our secrets to control us. Made us fight each other instead of you. That ends today. You'll destroy everything, she hisses. Your career, your father's freedom, the Mitchell's reputation. All of it burns if this comes out. Maybe it should burn. Ryan's voice makes us all turn. He stands with his father, both of them holding folders. We found the original company records, Margaret, the real ones. The dean's face goes ash white. Greg, think about what you're doing. I have. Greg Mitchell's military bearing returns as he straightens. For too long. My phone buzzes. Jenna's signal. Last chance, I tell the dean. Resign, confess, make it right. Or what? You'll become just like me, using secrets as weapons? No. I look at Laura, see my own reflection in her eyes. What I could have become, what I'm choosing not to be. I'm choosing to break the cycle. Your move. The dean's composure cracks. She lunges for my phone, but Laura intercepts her. They struggle. Glasses shatter, and suddenly Mrs. Thompson's pristine garden party dissolves into chaos. Stop! The dean's cry freezes everyone. She's crying now, mascara running. Fine, you win, I'll resign. Just don't publish it. Not good enough, my father says. Tell her the truth about her mother. The story comes out in broken pieces. The investment scheme, the threat to expose it, my mother's accident when she discovered the truth. With each word, the dean shrinks smaller, her power evaporating in the afternoon sun. When it's over, she walks away without another word, leaving behind the wreckage of decades of manipulation. The neighbors whisper and point, but I barely notice them. Was it worth it? Laura asks quietly. I look at my father, finally free to stay. At Ryan and his parents, their relationship damaged but healing. At the truth, ugly but necessary, finally in the light. Ask me tomorrow, I say. The garden party continues around us, unchanged, yet completely different. Sometimes the biggest victories feel exactly like survival. Ryan takes my hand. Ready to go home? Home. Not his parents' mansion or my empty apartment. Something new, something ours. Yes, I say. I think I am. The cafe where everything started looks different in autumn light. Laura sits across from me, both of us clutching untouched coffees. No heart-shaped foam art this time. The dean's resignation goes public tomorrow, she says, along with a carefully edited version of the truth. Carefully edited? Some secrets deserve to stay buried, for everyone's sake. I think of my mother's accident report, now permanently sealed. Of the weight lifted from my father's shoulders, allowing him to finally look me in the eyes again. Ryan tells me you're moving, Laura says, taking that visiting professor position in Seattle. We both are. His company's opening a West Coast office. She nods, fingers tracing the rim of her cup. The silence between us feels different now. Not comfortable exactly, but no longer charged with hostility. I owe you an apology, she says finally. Not just for what I did, but for what I almost made you become. I made my own choices. Did you? Or were you just playing the game I taught you? Before I can answer, the cafe door chimes. Ryan and Greg enter, followed by my father. They're laughing about something, the sound startling in its normalcy. Never thought I'd see that, Laura murmurs. People surprise you. I watch them approach. Sometimes they even surprise themselves. Ryan kisses my cheek as they join us, his hand finding mine under the table. Just like that first confrontation, but everything's different now. Greg sits beside Laura, my father taking the end seat. Papers are signed, Greg announces. The firm's restructuring is official. And the trust? Laura asks. Dissolved. My father meets my eyes. No more golden handcuffs for anyone. The weight of generations of control and manipulation lifts with those words. No more secret accounts, no more leverage, no more power games disguised as family loyalty. I have something for you, Laura says, reaching into her bag. She pulls out an old photograph, a younger version of herself with another woman, both smiling. Your mother and me, freshman year, before everything. I stare at my mother's face, so like mine, frozen in a moment before secrets and tragedy twisted everything apart. She would have been proud, my father says quietly, of who you didn't become. Laura stands abruptly, composure cracking. I should go. There's still packing to do. The house sale closes next week? Ryan asks. She nods. Time for a fresh start, somewhere smaller, simpler. Mom, Ryan's voice stops her. Sunday dinners, when we're back visiting. There's still, always, she whispers. After she leaves, Greg following, we sit in contemplative silence. The cafe bustles around us, oblivious to the seismic shifts in our little world. Ready? Ryan asks eventually. I look at my father, who smiles and waves us off. Go, I'll be here when you get back. Outside, the autumn wind whips leaves around our feet. Ryan pulls me close. Having second thoughts? About leaving? No. I watch a leaf spiral upward, caught in an invisible current. About everything else? Maybe that's not such a bad thing. What do you mean? Second thoughts mean you're still questioning, still growing. The moment you stop doubting is the moment you become like my mother used to be. Like we all could have been. His phone buzzes. A text from Laura. He shows me the screen. A single line that reads, "I'm learning too." We walk to our car, leaving the cafe behind. Tomorrow we'll drive west toward new beginnings and carefully maintain boundaries. But right now, in this moment, I understand something Laura finally learned. The strongest families aren't built on control or revenge, but on the courage to keep choosing each other, flaws and all. The autumn wind follows us home, carrying the echo of lessons learned and bridges carefully and perfectly rebuilt.